Thanks for joining me. And yeah, welcome to the Q&A. First off, Team Tehranto, introduce yourself. Just tell me quickly sort of what your role was in the film, and we'll have a little chat.
So I am Faran Moradi. I am the writer-director of the film, and I had the great pleasure of working with Jackie.
Hi, I'm Jackie Deneverville. I'm the producer of Tehranto. I'm an independent producer working in Toronto for the last couple of years, and this is my first feature.
Awesome, thanks for that.
Yeah.
And Team I Hate You, just seems like I shouldn't say that. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Koumbie. I was a co-writer, co-director, co-producer, co-actor, co-person on I Hate You.
And I'm Taylor Olson, and I was all those things as well.
So, I mean, why don't we just start right there? What is it like for Team I Hate You again? I don't hate you. What was it like being these multi-titled creatives on this short film?
I mean, this was made through the 48-hour film competition. So we've done that for a few years in a row, and every time we try to keep the team as small as possible. So this time it was literally just Koumbie and myself, Tim Umbercat, our DOP, and then Jacob Kamon, who did sound, and that was the entire team on set. So it comes together pretty quick in a 48-hour film competition. So,
Literally in 48 hours.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. It's like a little film camp, and we shot it over, I don't know, 3.5 hours on a Saturday. Yeah.
That is wild. And do you want to talk a bit about the actual title itself? Because, I mean, the title is kind of amazing, and it's like obviously attention grabbing.
Sure. So the way the 48-hour film competition works is that you're given a prop, a line of dialogue, a character, and then you get a choice of genres. And the choice that we got, I think, was like a tragedy or a romantic comedy. And we decided to go with romantic comedy. So we knew the genre that we were going to try and make this film into. But our kind of twist was like, well, what's a not romantic comedy? And so what's less romantic than hate? I don't know.
Fair enough. One more question real quick here. Is this your story in real life? Like, because you're a real life couple, am I wrong?
Yes, we are.
I would say it's not really. I mean, there's elements of it that are inspired by conversations we had for sure, around marriage or what it's like to be a couple in 2020, whatever sort of thing. But the specifics are not very inspired by real life. Yeah. The ideas are, the themes, yeah.
Fair enough. And now I'm going to use that as a segue to Tehranto, which is, again, it seems like possibly a deeply personal film that's just full of a lot of fun. Faran, can you tell me sort of a little bit more about how this film came into your brain?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the catalyst for this film was that I was starting to discover a lot more Iranian cinema, whether it be indie stuff or some older works. And I would talk to a lot of Iranians in the community in Toronto, just as I was, trying to get more connected with people. And I started to notice that a lot of Iranians who are here don't actually watch a lot of Iranian cinema, which I was shocked about. And I received a consistent answer, which was that a lot of these people have lived very hard lives, very stressful lives. So when the only side of our culture that gets out there is this side of struggle and hardship, it weighs down on you. And if that is a good chunk of your life, you don't want to then escape to cinema to see more of that, right? So now I prefer all aspects of cinema, right? Like I love drama, I love comedy, I love superhero movies, I love everything. I can list 10 favorites in every genre. But I did notice that there was, that side of vibrance in our community and that lightheartedness and the love and the joy was really missing. So this movie was kind of written as a love story to the Iranian community, especially in the diaspora, which is almost never represented in film. And I drew from obviously aspects of my own life in that regard. And what I did was I took parts of my life and I put them in one character and then parts of it in the other character. And then I basically then gave the other one the opposite of some of those things. So for example, I was born and raised here, right? So I gave those qualities to Sharon. And then on the flip side, I gave the opposite to Batty, where Batty immigrated here as a teenager. And then I am very connected with my Iranian roots, so I gave that to Batty. And then Sharon, on the flip side, would have to be disconnected from her Iranian roots. So it kind of went like that to figure it all out. And the relationship that I developed between the two characters seemed like what I felt would be a natural connection or disconnection between people with those qualities.
And what do you think about making such a, I'll say, culturally specific story, but then somehow you managed to make this more sort of, I think, universal? Like after the first 2 minutes, like I was hooked into this story and I was, attached to these characters. I knew this was going to be a good ride. But like, how do you create that magic? Like, how do you make something that's so specific that could be potentially, we'll say, alienating to audiences and make it something bigger?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for saying that. To this day, I'm still like, can everybody connect to this? I hope so, because you never know, right? Especially in the digital world, like even the test screenings that we've done, they all had to be digital. We had to send digital screeners to people, and as soon as they finish, call them and pick their brains about it, right? So you miss hearing the audience reactions to key moments in the film. So that's great to hear. But I think a lot of the themes in the film are universal, which helps quite a bit. When I grew up, I thought I had this unique experience, which is apparently not at all unique, where I felt like I was both Iranian and Canadian, and neither Iranian nor Canadian. And I felt kind of lost in a sense, being like, I don't know where I'm from, like I've never even been to Iran. And yet when I meet a lot of Canadians here, they ask me where I'm from. So it's, no matter how much I want to say Canada is my home, right? There's going to be a level of where you actually from. Or no matter how much I want to say, well, Iran is where I'm from, I still meet Iranians who are like, well, you've never been to Iran. Or they'll hear me speaking Farsi with an accent and they'll be like, oh, that's so cute. You know what I mean? So, but I brought this up to one of my sisters and she said, this isn't like unique to us. People have written about this at length. I think it was W.B. Du Bois who coined the term double consciousness, where he was talking about how a lot of Black people in the Americas were feeling both American and African, and neither American nor African. So it was the same phenomenon. And I assume it's probably the same for anyone in some sort of diaspora. So yeah, I think they're just universal themes more than anything. I don't know if I did it intentionally, but I hope it works.
Somehow it managed to work out, so that is lucky for us, and certainly a joy for audiences. Now, Jackie, sort of same question to you. Like, what's the challenge of making a film like this and sort of getting that funding happening when it is, again, it's specific, like you've got specific casting needs, you have specific, maybe not so much location needs, but definitely specific casting needs in order to like fulfill this, and who's going to hop on board and actually give you guys money to do that? And are they going to give you enough money?
Yeah, this was a telefilm talent to watch project. So we had that initial kind of funding to get us going, for sure. That was a big supportive push to get us off the ground. And so that program has also kind of supported us in some ways through COVID as well. When our timelines got extended and all the posts got a little bit jumbled up and trying to figure out all these remote workflow situations, Telefilm was also able to provide a bit of assistance there to kind of round out our budget and assist with those kind of additional costs that came up. But yeah, it was a very low budget project, and it was a lot of, discovery, I think, on the cast side as well. I think originally we pulled such a huge list of people to try and reach out to, some non-actors, some actors from all over. We were really trying to cast such a wide net. So that was an interesting challenge. I think casting was one of the biggest challenges of the project, but it ended up being something that I'm super proud of, and I think we were really happy with just what a cast we ended up with and how strong, how strong the dynamics were between them. All the different friend groups, the different family dynamics. I think that was a really important part of the film as well. Yeah.
And then how did you get on board with the project? Did you guys start like from the get-go? Like, were you developing this project? How did that work?
Yeah, I hopped right in just the beginning of pre-production. I think Faran had applied to the grant with another producer, and she unfortunately had to leave the project. And he was kind of looking for somebody and got a recommend to me. And we had a chat, and I read the script and was really motivated and excited that, like, wow, this is something really different. And that was really exciting. So yeah, we had an interesting meeting, and I gave him a first note, which was to change the title. It used to be called Once Upon a Time in Tehranto. This was before the Tarantino movie had come out. But I was just like, it could just be Tehranto. That was, I was a little bit, it was a risk. I wasn't sure how he was going to feel about that. The title, I thought he was sold on it. It wasn't the type of title where it was going to change, but I think he took the note well, and I think it left a good impression. And I think, yeah, a lot of what Faran had to say about the project, I really connected with, like the personal aspect. It was really important to hear him and to understand that on my side of things. I'm born and raised in Canada. I'm French Canadian in background, so I don't have that same personal connection to the diaspora or the kind of immigrant experience, coming to Canada that same way. So hearing him explain it more and connect me to the more specific pieces of Iranian culture also, yeah, just deepened my experience with the film and how to bring that to life kind of in the most accurate way as well. Sorry, I went on a bit of a thing there.
No, that's why we're here. It's
Yeah.
Q&A. You're supposed to ramble as long as humanly possible, and then I'm supposed to say something witty in between to act as a bridge until I move on to the next question, which is for Team I Hate You. And I like just calling, I love I Hate You. What a great title. How do you fund your projects typically? Is it always like this type of, DIY 48-hour film challenge? I mean, you guys have made a bunch of films, so you can't always be doing it out of pocket.
No. No, hard no.
No.
I think honestly, it's really ranged. It really seems to depend on the project and a little bit on the funding that is available. Taylor also did a Talent to Watch, Bone Cage. I think possibly in the same year.
Yeah,
actually,
I've been following. I wanted to say I've been following because I always loved the synopsis that you shared at the summit when we were there in
No
2018,
way.
That's
and
awesome.
I loved it, and I
That's
love
why
the
you
title, and so I've been sort of waiting to. So I can't wait to see the film. Is what I want to say. I've been sort of excited
Wow.
to see it. So yeah, we did a Talent to Watch, my feature Bone Cage through there. We funded shorts through different grant programs or prize programs, or done little 48-hour films. So it has been a wide range, and we just finished a digital series in the fall that was through Bell. So
through Bell.
yeah. So.
Taylor's next feature is through Canada Council. I've got a feature coming up, which is through Telefilm, but through the regional fund instead of the Talent to Watch. So it really seems to just sort of really vary based on what the project needs, I think.
Nice. And then what do you think? Are you guys going to make more short films after this, or is this the last one? Are you done with short films?
Never.
No, we'll definitely keep making more short films. I think between when I made Bone Cage and now, we've made 3 short films. So yeah, we're still in.
So you love short films, is what you're saying?
We really love short films, and it's such a great way for us to just like spark the fun, and especially like the 48-hour film fest, but even some other short films that we've done, they're just really low stakes, and sometimes the big projects can just be so much more important to us. There's a passion there, and the stakes just feel so much higher. But with short films, you really can just kind of fling it at a wall, and it's just sort of for the love of it, the fun of it. And so I don't expect us to ever stop making short films, actually.
No.
Nice. I love to hear the passion. Jackie and Faran, what's next? What are you two up to?
Jackie, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. I'm developing another feature right now, very early on, so hard to say too much at this point, but I have another short I'm working on at the moment that's kind of been doing a couple festivals. It just did Rotterdam, which is great. And we're playing True False Festival in a couple days, actually, in the States. It's a short documentary, very experimental, but yeah, kind of something different, I think, unique. What else am I up to? I'm kind of entering a new phase where I'm trying to focus on more narrative projects. I've worked in the commercial world for a long time, and I think now is the time to kind of focus in and start to develop a bit more of a slate of narrative and long format stuff.
Awesome. Well, I hope we see more things from you. Faran?
I am currently working on a show pilot and like a pitch deck for a show. And at the same time, I am working on a feature film, and I can give you kind of a little taste of what they're about. The show is kind of like Rami meets The Sopranos. It takes place in the Iranian community of Toronto, of course, and it follows these two cousins. One of them was estranged from her father, who no one in the family really knew what he did. When he dies, the whole family kind of goes back to Richmond Hill, and she's settling up his affairs. And all these people, these strange characters keep popping up asking about his various businesses and his investments and asking what's going on with them. And it gets kind of peculiar why people keep asking about these things while she's dealing with the death of her father, right? At the same time, her cousin has come back home. He's a master's graduate, can't find any work in this economy, moves into his parents' basement. And he had kind of veered off, become a little bit of a drug addict and disconnected from the family. And he turns to the main character to be like, hey, can you kind of help me course correct a little bit? And she's like, I can do the best I can. And at the end of the first episode, you find out that the dad was actually in charge of this massive criminal organization. And so she starts to freak out, and her cousin starts to rely on his knowledge of gangster films and mob films to try to be like, you know what, you help me clean up my life and I'll help you dirty up yours a little bit. And so over the course of the series, one of them will kind of move into becoming like a Don-like character, a Godfather-like character, and then the other one becomes almost monk-like by the end of it, like born again, like salt lamps, all that. And so that'll be a bit of like a comedic drama. I think, yeah, the best description I can give it is like a cross between Rami and The Sopranos. And the feature is the thesis for the film is that silence is the biggest enemy of father-son relationships. And that one is a straight up drama, very heavy subject matter. And it follows this father and the son who both lost one of their kids. So 20 years before the movie starts, the father loses his eldest daughter to teen suicide. And about 2 months before the movie starts, our main character and his wife, they lose their first child either right before the birth date or during delivery. I'm still kind of working out those details. And it puts a strain on their relationship. He leaves, goes off to rural Newfoundland to take a job with the Ministry of Natural Resources. His dad gets really worried that his son has kind of gone off into the woods and he's already lost one kid to depression, flies out to be with him. But what he doesn't know is that for all these years, the son has blamed the father for the suicide of the eldest sibling. So that's the next feature.
Sounds like some heavy subject matter, but I'm sure you'll do a bang up job. I just want to say thanks again to all the filmmakers for joining us, but that's it. We got to wrap this up. So thanks again, and hopefully everyone follows you on social media and, I don't know, gives you the big ups. Well done. Thank you.
Thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. Don't get